What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Joannis or Joe Hatagwa. I'm a Sierra Leonean American living in West Africa. I'm in Sierra Leone right now. But if you want to know about eco-friendly, sustainable living communities in Sierra Leone and in Ghana and what I think about them, then this is the video for you. All right. We are live everywhere. We're on Instagram. We're on YouTube. We are on Facebook. If you guys can hear me, give me a thumbs up so I know you can hear me. Let me know that you guys can hear me. So we got a few people joining. Give me a thumbs up so I know you guys can hear me. I'm checking the comments now. Let's see. All right. So Spirit Warrior is here, who's actually in Sierra Leone right now. Shout out to you. We got to find a way to get in contact with each other while I'm here. All right, cool. If you're following on Instagram Live and you want to see what I'll be displaying on my screen, click on the pinned link. I just pinned a post. I pinned a comment, sorry. Click on the pinned comment so you can join us on YouTube. All right, so Anita can hear me. What's up, Jaya? Jaya's there, he can hear me. We got a couple people. So we got some new people here. What is it, Fitarari Fitness? Shout out to you, peace, welcome. David McCrae is here, shout out to you. Of course, Spear Warrior, I just mentioned you're here. Manelik, what's up? I finally got in touch today. So you can hear me, great. David McCrae says he can hear me. Anita Howard, we also just got recently in contact. So you can hear me. Check your DMs. I just wrote you back. But I can also talk a little bit about some pricing here today as well. Jaya's here, of course. Jaya's also building in Sierra Leone. So Jaya's my first cousin. I think he's living in DMV right now in America, but he's building in Sierra Leone as well. Spear Warrior says he can hear me. Serafina says, hey, Joe. What's up, Serafina? Let me see if I'm capturing everybody on Instagram too. So we got Mr. Bounce Los Angeles. Shout out to you. Abina has joined. Look at that. One of my former coworkers. Every once in a while, some of my former coworkers join. Mr. Bounce Los Angeles says he can hear me. So what's up, everybody on Instagram Live? As I was saying, if you guys want to be able to see what I'm talking about, because I'll be sharing my screen. I'll be going through some things. YMCMB 1955. Shout out to you for joining. If you guys want to see what I am talking about, I'll be sharing on the screen. Then you'll want to head over to the pinned link or the pinned comment with the link to the YouTube channel and to the YouTube Live, so that way you can view what I'm doing on the screen. And as my man Mr. Bounce Los Angeles said, like, comment, and share this stream. Absolutely. Make sure you do that. Actually, as this is what I want everybody to do. I want everybody to quickly just hit the thumbs up and like this video wherever you are, however you're watching this, so that we can make sure that other people are getting notified this live is going. So Spirit Warrior says, there are 2 properties I'm interested in. I just don't know how to find owners. We should probably talk about this a little bit more. We can probably have a conversation about this on the next live if you want. We can do this in more detail, but you'll have to let me know the context for that. Did you find it on Visit SL? Is this something that you've seen signs with phone numbers? How did you find out about this land that's available? McGill Consulting. What's up? You can hear me. Shout out to you. All right, cool. So today we're going to talk about sustainable living. At first, I was just going to do an overview of like real estate in general. But there's been 2 conversations going on in parallel. So this last weekend, I went to a sustainable, eco-friendly housing community here in Sierra Leone. They're really in the early stages. They just built a model house. And the company is called TP Estates. And so they have like locally sourced materials. They're building, and they're building in a couple different areas, right? But then there is this other concept that came up in the last live, which was what is the name of this? I don't want to get it wrong, but it's called Migrating Culture Crossing, right? And so that's in Accra, Ghana. So because sustainable housing has been coming up and people are, well, it's actually not in Accra, it's outside of Accra, but it's in Ghana. So because it's been coming up, I thought I would just do an episode about sustainable housing, what I think about it, and really what some of the examples of this look like and what some of the costs might look like. So I'm going to go through some of that today. I'm going to start with the Sierra Leone housing market because all of you who were on last week might remember my MiFi died and I got kicked off the internet. And so when that happened, I had to end the live. The live ended on its own. And so I was going to finish talking about that today. So we're going to go through the real estate market in Sierra Leone from a high level, the general cost of housing. I'm going to reiterate the costs that I've incurred so far for all of you who've been asking about that. I think that came up from Anita Howard. So I'll make sure that I just remind you all of the costs that I've had so far. So we'll get into both, but I'm going to start by, let's just do some housekeeping to begin with. Just you guys, so there's some new people on. I see some new people commenting. I see some new people on Instagram. So let me just kind of give you guys a little bit of the lay of the land, how it works with my channels, both my Instagram page and my YouTube channel. So first things first is my name is Joannis or Joe Hatagwa. Some people call me Joe. Some people call me Joannis. Actually kind of varies among gender lines. Women that I've known for a long time call me Joannis. Most men call me Joe. Either one is fine. Some people call me Bemba, which is my middle name, named after Chief Bemba. That's a whole nother conversation. My grandfather, great-grandfather, I guess. Anyway, so I am living in Ghana mostly full-time. I do go back and forth between Ghana and Sierra Leone. I recently just came back from Nigeria. And so I do content about my move to West Africa, right? So I'm building a house in Sierra Leone. I live in Ghana. I worked for a year in Ghana. I recently left that position. So I no longer work at that company in Ghana. Now I work for a US-based company, and I'm expanding their operations to Africa, amongst other things that I'm working on. So I'll be traveling a lot this year. I'll be everywhere I go. My focus is really on African-related content. So you'll probably see some content from me at different museums, different restaurants, and things like that when I'm in the States and when I'm in Europe, because I'll be in both. And then when I'm here in West Africa, all my content is about my move. If you're on Instagram, it's broader. The content that I do on Instagram is really things happening in Black culture in Africa and around the world. But then I also do lives every week, as you can see here, where I talk about more of my own personal experience moving to the continent. Shout out to Jordan Espiritu Santo. That's my guy, Jordan, in New York. So shout out to you for joining. So that's really what the content is about. I do 3 videos a week at least. So as of right now, I go live every Monday, 9 p.m. GMT, depending on the time of the year and whether or not they're doing daylight savings in the US anymore. I heard that Congress passed a law or whatever, but if they do, it changes. But it's usually 4 or 5 hours ahead. But just know it's whatever England time zone is, that's my normal time zone. And so I put out a live every Monday at 9 p.m. GMT. And I also put out 2 other videos per week. Sometimes I go live a second time with diaspora discussions. You guys are really big fans of Masa and Kenya. I've been doing a lot of lives with them. I'm also planning to have other contributors to the diaspora discussions. We got some special guests coming up, people you might have seen on the channel before, especially when I'm in the States. We'll probably do some content together. We'll probably do some diaspora discussions together. We're talking through how we're going to be combining some channels. My guy Kels, so he's a Black African in the diaspora. So having those diaspora discussions, I think might be interesting. So we're talking about potentially doing some content there, but at the very least, he and I are going to shoot some content when I'm in New York. And so that's a secondary piece of content that can happen each week, another live diaspora discussions with different co-hosts. And then I do a weekly vlog. I had been doing monthly vlogs, but now I'm doing weekly vlogs that just tell you like what that last week has been like for me. here in Africa. So go through everything that I go through. Like my most recent weekly vlog is going to be a 2-week vlog, and it's in 2 parts. I'm going to do about my trip to Nigeria. So you guys have been asking about content from my Nigeria trip. I just came back from Nigeria a little over a week ago. It was crazy, really crazy. So much to share. I got 2 like 20+ minute vlogs to share with you guys on my trip to Nigeria. So everything from the challenges that I had with the Airbnb to the building that I was staying in, the cost, what it was like driving around, to dinners, lunches, meetings, and all the productive and amazing things that happen in Nigeria too. So it spans across the whole spectrum. I got 2 different videos coming for you guys this week. Wednesday, I'm putting out the video of leaving Ghana and going to Nigeria. And then on Saturday, you guys are going to get the video from all the restaurants and all the food that I ate while I was there. So that's a little bit about the channel, right? So you can expect that each week on this live, I'll give you a little bit about what content is coming, and then also what's been going on with me and specific topics that might be of interest to the broader group. All right, so let me run through some comments. There's a lot of comments coming up. My guy Jordan says, New York misses me. You know, this is what we do as men. We don't say we miss each other. We say our city or our city misses each other. But I miss New York as well. I'm definitely going to be in New York in June, so we definitely got to get up. We got a lot to catch up on. I haven't stepped foot in the United States since November 3rd, 2019. Sorry, 2020. I'm lying. 2020. November 3rd, 2020 was the last time I was in the United States. All right, cool. So Leon says, what you need to say about the African emancipation. You're gonna have to tell me more about that, because I actually don't know anything about the African emancipation. What do you mean specifically? I don't want to say I don't know anything about it, but what do you mean specifically, just so I know what we're talking about? Bluebells just joined. What's up? What's up? Okay, cool. Let me get to some of the other comments too. All right, so okay, so Spear Warrior said he saw some properties while he's moving around Freetown, and you know the property's for sale. And is there like a sign that's, because usually they put up signs with phone numbers for people to call. But also, do you have your dual citizenship, Spear Warrior? Because if you do, that makes it easier to be able to buy a property in the first place. But if you don't, there are some challenges there. But let me know in the comments when you write back. Abu Bakar says, hello, what's up, what's up? Spear Warrior is laughing about the power outages here are serious. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. And there's been some load shedding and grid challenges over the last couple of days. I can tell you right now, where I am right now in Aberdeen, today the power went off, like flicked on and off about 6 times over an hour. So that was a challenge, to say the least. But we got a generator on site, so I've been good on that front. Okay, Spear Warrior says, Chief, would like to hear that story. And then H. Jordan Sisse is also saying, got to hear the Chief Bemba story. So I will be trying my best to do what I can to go back through my lineage and start documenting that. You know, when I first came to Sierra Leone, and we'll get into the content today, I promise. I just want to answer some of these questions first. So when I first came to Sierra Leone back in 2010, I was about, I don't know, 25 or so. I can't even do the math, 26. And it was my first time here in Sierra Leone as an adult, but I got a chance to get to see some of the people that my grandfather impacted, and the reverence they had for him. They were calling me Chief. You know, people were just excited to meet someone from his lineage. The previous chief had just died, so technically I was old enough and could have run for chieftaincy, but because of how things work now, you kind of have to run and you have to get like votes, whereas previously it was just handed down. But because my father left and did not want to participate in the chieftaincy process, he left Sierra Leone like a little bit before his father died. And so he was gone and didn't return for 40 years. There's a lot of stories about that I could tell you guys about. That's for a whole nother time and a whole nother day, but we'll get into my family lineage. And it was touched on a little bit with my interview with Kenya and Massa, because they're like distant relatives kind of. And so they know about my family history. But yeah, I got to tell you guys all about that at some point in time in the future for sure. I'm learning more about it as I go along. And the Spirit Warrior saying is if you have power. Okay. Yeah, power outages keep going out. The breakup. When you say the breakup, are you talking about the power going out or talking about my breakup in Nigeria? Okay, got citizenship, didn't see for sale signs or numbers. You probably are going to need to then go to the property and just talk to people there. Do you speak Creole? Let me know if you speak Creole because that helps. But if they have someone on site, or you can just ask the neighbors, people will tell you who to call or how to get in contact for sure. Spirit Warrior says that reverence can be overwhelming. It was overwhelming, but I'll be honest with you. You know, I've never had anyone treat me that way. And so definitely was a great for the ego boost, even though I had nothing to do with it. So it helped me to understand a little bit about, like, when I see somebody like Denzel Washington's son, who says that, like, he never let people know that Denzel was his father because he wanted to do things on his own. At the time that this happened, I hadn't accomplished really much at all in my life. I was on a good trajectory, but I hadn't really done anything of significance as of yet. And so I did feel a little strange, people giving me some kind of reverence without having any real accomplishments to speak of. So now I see things very differently. And but yeah, the family's a very important family, and I want to continue to keep that legacy alive. All right, cool. Anne Marie Harding says, "Hey Joe, sorry I'm late. I hope I haven't missed anything important." No, we're just kind of talking about who I am, and just for the new people who've joined, and just answering questions and talking through some stuff. We haven't gone through the content as of yet, but there's been a lot of questions about sustainable living, so we'll get into that too. And then Spirit Warrior saying your Nigeria breakup. So the breakup, I talked about that on the live. I'm not talking about it on the vlogs. I did one piece of content about it, and I'm just going to leave it at that. You know, her and I have agreed that that was fine, but I mean, she's not excited about the idea of me continuing to do content about it. Maybe at some point in time in the future, I can have her on a live if she's ready and open to doing that, or even interview with her directly and have her speak to it from her side and what it was like dating me as a local Sierra Leonean, and what's it like dating somebody from the West. I think it could be really important for you guys to see that. And she's been very mature about how she's handled the whole thing. And so there's a potential for us to maybe do some content together. All right. Haji Ba says, "Hi, Joe. What's up, Haji?" All right, cool. So we've reached a good number of folks on both the lives, so I can get into the content now. So sustainable housing. And first, I'm going to go through the real estate market in Sierra Leone because I think this could be really interesting for those of you who might be interested. I don't have these numbers per se for Ghana as of yet. I will get those, and I'll maybe give those to you guys at a later time. But just know this: plots of land, a plot of land, or a plot and a half of land in Accra right now in different areas can be going for over $100,000 for just a plot of land with nothing on it. So in Ghana, it has gotten very expensive in Accra for real estate. So for those of you thinking about getting into real estate, you know, that's why you hear about these housing communities being built outside of Accra, because it's a little bit cheaper to buy that land overall and then to resell it to other people who want to build on that land. So we're going to talk about two different sustainable housing communities at varying levels of completion. We're going to talk about one that's about an hour and a half or so outside of Accra, north of Accra. And then we're going to, in Ghana. And then we're going to talk about another one that's in Kent, which is about an hour outside of Freetown here in Sierra Leone. So Jaya is asking a great question. What is the square footage per plot? I always forget this. I don't remember what the square foot is. What's the square? I'm gonna have to Google it. Square footage per plot of land. So in Sierra Leone, let's see. It's 452 square meters. So what is 452 square meters in feet? 452 square meters to feet. So 4,865 square feet. That's about the size of a town lot, as far as I understand. That's my best estimation from Google's. That's from doing my Googles. But yeah, so I hope that helps, Jaya. Let me know if that answers your question. All right, so Spear Warrior saying, is it beachfront in Kent? I think I saw a cave there. It is beachfront in Kent, not actually beachfront, but near the beach. So yeah, all right, cool. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna start going through some of the overall and overarching numbers in Sierra Leone, since I have that based on this presentation that was shared with me from the folks at TP Estate. They did their due diligence and did all the work. So I'm just going to share that information with you guys, because that was what I was planning to share at the end of my live last week before I lost internet connection. So I'm going to go through that with you guys now. Haji does have a good piece of advice for those of you buying a house in Sierra Leone. It can be tricky. Make sure you have a good lawyer. Yeah, I mean, look, I'll tell you this. You know, I bought land from family, and so the process was a bit tedious. But it worked out, you know, obviously, because I was buying from people that I know, and it was passed down from generation to generation. It was passed down from my great grandmother. She owned the land. She owned a lot of land, actually, and now her land has been cut to like a fraction of its size, and she had given a bunch of land away. I don't know much about her. I need to figure this out, because how did she own land that long ago? We're talking about over 150 years ago. But she owned land. She had a house on that land. It was a bodos, or a board house, which has British wood and British carpentry. So I'm wondering if maybe she was dealing with British soldiers to some extent. When you go to the enslaved people castles or the slave castles in Ghana, one of the things they'll tell you about is some of the local women married some of the soldiers, the British soldiers, so that they could protect their families from being enslaved and keep their kids from being enslaved. So there's a possibility that my great grandmother did that as well to survive in Sierra Leone. It's just speculation. I have no idea if that's what she did, but I just know that that's something that would happen. And so I'm trying to find out more about that. But anyway, what we're talking about today is sustainable housing in Sierra Leone and Ghana. We now hit like a little bit more of a critical mass of people online on the live. So let's get into the content. We're not going to wait any longer. All right, cool. So again, for those of you watching on Instagram Live and you want to see what I'm going to be presenting on my screen, click on the link that's pinned, the pinned comment that's there, so that you can go to YouTube and watch it live. So then that way you can actually see what's on my screen. All right, so let's get into it. So we're gonna do a country overview, and then I'll go over a bit about this company in and of itself. It's an interesting company, TP Estates. So I'll go over that with you guys a bit, just based on what I went through this weekend when I went to their property and some of the stuff that they have here. All right, cool. Now I'm going to share my screen. Feel free to ask questions along the way. I'll be happy to answer them. This is meant to be collaborative. So if you have any questions as I go along, feel free to ask. And I see a couple new people joining on Instagram Live. If you want to see what I'm showing on my screen, just click on the pinned comment. All right, cool. So let's share my extra screen. All right. So we're going to go through a bit of like a country overview of Sierra Leone overall, just so you understand who we are, what we are as a country, the size of the country. A lot of people have these questions, and those of you who are joining, there's a lot of Sierra Leoneans who join these lives now. I realized that my following from Sierra Leone has grown tremendously, and Sierra Leoneans in the diaspora, I think it's probably more than Ghanaians in the diaspora, to be honest with you, just judging by the videos that have been consumed. So I appreciate all my fellow Sierra Leonean brothers and sisters for supporting the content, all right, and supporting the channel. All right, so with that, for those of you who aren't Sierra Leonean or are and don't know much about it, let's talk about it. So first of all, we're located on the southwest coast of West Africa. We're bordered by Liberia and Guinea. So Liberia is to the southeast and Guinea is to the northeast, but Guinea takes up like 3/4 of the borders around Sierra Leone, and then one part of the border borders on Liberia. So we are basically surrounded by those two countries. Liberia is another English-speaking country. It also is a country that was founded by freed enslaved Africans that moved back to Africa. So it's a much newer country, and its flag actually looks like a lot like the American flag with one star, right? It's very much like that. It's freed enslaved Africans. And then when we're talking about Sierra Leone, the capital city of Freetown was also founded by freed enslaved Africans from Nova Scotia. DLW Sweets wants to join the live. If you're still interested in joining the live, I'll do this after the presentation. I'm not going to do it now while I'm going through these numbers. But I'll definitely bring you on if you still want to go live with me in a second. So just hang tight while I go through this. And if you want to see what I'm going over, click on the pinned comment to watch it on YouTube Live. All right, cool. So this is the country overview with Sierra Leone. All right, so let's jump into it. So these are the main urban areas in Sierra Leone. And you can see by the map on the right where Sierra Leone is located on the map, for those of you who don't know. So the main urban areas and centers are Freetown and Bo. That's actually, and more than that, McKinney, Kenema, and Port Loko as well. Freetown is where my mother was born and raised. Bo is where my paternal side of the family is from. Half of his family is from Bo. The other half is from Guinea. That's a whole nother thing. But yeah, so we're Mende from Bo, and then Creole from Freetown on my mom's side. All right, the country's population is 7.9 million, very small population. Now, let me give you that in terms of context for other West African countries, right? So Ghana has about 30 to 33, some people say 35 million people, right? So Sierra Leone has 7.9 million. They say Ghana has between 30 and 35 million. Nigeria has over 200 million people. As a matter of fact, Lagos itself has between 25 and 30 million people. So even Lagos by itself is more than 4 times the size, or at least 3 to 4 times the size of Sierra Leone overall. It sounds like some people are saying the link to the video on YouTube is not working. Tiff, the tax lady, said you're not able to see the video on YouTube. I don't know why. It should work. Some people are watching it on YouTube Live right now. If you just go to the channel, then just go to the YouTube channel, and it will be the most recent video there that's live right now. So you'll be able to see that. So just go onto the YouTube channel itself, and I guess click on videos, and you should be able to just find the live there. So I don't know why the link's not working. Sorry about that. But guys, so if you're watching on Instagram Live, just go to the YouTube channel. All right, cool. So the country's population growth rate is 2.7%. That's per year. Urban population, meaning in major cities, is 3.43 million. Some people estimate that's how many people are specifically in Freetown specifically. Urban population growth is growing even faster, 3.1%. So Sierra Leone is mainly people are moving towards the bigger cities, right? All right, cool. All right, so here's some more about the country's overview, just so you know more details about how people live. So 39.3% of women own a house alone or jointly. Now, that was an interesting statistic, and I don't know where this came from, and I guess it's coming from Housing Finance Africa, but that's a really interesting statistic. But I do know of about 3 different women that I met since coming to Sierra Leone more often, who inherited houses from their fathers who had passed away. And so that can make a lot of sense why, that many women can own a house alone or jointly. That means that that means that 61% of men own a house or jointly. 16% or less of the population have access to basic sanitation services. So that means like garbage disposal, that means, septic tanks, et cetera, right? 58% or more have no access to basic water services. So what you'll see a lot is like some people have like these rubber hoses that are pulling water in from the main water supply to their properties. And what you can see from time to time in Sierra Leone is people cut those and get buckets and like fill up their buckets to bring the water back home. I used to have a water well on my property, and people used to go into the well to pull water from the neighborhood. We don't have that well anymore. That actually got filled up. So now what we have is a because we needed to build over top of it, unfortunately. And so now what we have is access to the main water supply in my property. But what I did is I put it underground. We put cement over top of it, and then and we covered it so that it cannot be cut at all. So there's no stealing and siphoning off my water. That's not happening on my property. All right. Here's an interesting fact. The national electrification rate is approximately 26% urban areas and 6% in rural areas. That means how much electricity people have and how much time it's on. 26% or 6% in rural areas. So what that means is generators are on all the time, or you're relying on your solar panels and solar power almost all of the time. 66.6% of the population lives in 1 or 2 rooms only, meaning like a studio with outside bathroom, etc., outside shower kind of thing. Because a lot of people live in these shanty houses, or what we call pambodis, like a pan body, a pan house, steel pans, wood and cement floors. And so a lot of people live in pambodis, or what people call shanty houses in other countries. We have a pambodi on my property right now for my caretaker to stay in until the guest house is built and the main floor of the first house is built, where he and his wife will reside. And it is a 1-bedroom space. So that's usually how it's built. And then we have a storage unit next to it where we house all of the stuff that's for the house. 24% of the houses are zinc construction. As I mentioned, I call them steel pans, but I guess they're zinc pans. And 13% of houses in Freetown are made of mud. So just so you know. Okay, so real quick, a couple questions coming up. Good Fula is asking, how stable is the government since the Civil War? It's stable. The Sierra Leone government does have free and fair elections. At least that is the talking point. I think there are people who might disagree with that, but they do have elections in Sierra Leone every 5 years. Okay, so some other stuff. Serafina says, Liberia was established for free slaves by Americans, while Sierra Leone was established for free slaves by the British. That's why the Liberian flag has colors resembling that of the United States. There you go. It really looks like a U.S. flag with 1 star as opposed to 50 stars, right? Yes. Okay. And then Spear Warrior said he is taking a shower with a bucket in the dark outside. Yeah, that's roughing it for real. And you know, when you come to Sierra Leone, sometimes you got to rough it, depending on who you know and where you're staying and all of the above. All right, cool. So, so this is the country overview for Sierra Leone. So here's some key figures, some data insights about the housing market. So, okay, the cheapest newly built house in 2021, I guess on average, was about $20,469. Percent of urban households that can even afford a house is only 8.86% of the people who live here who could actually afford a house. The average annual household income needed for the cheapest newly built house is $45,790 per month. Now, we've gone over this previously, but to be very clear, the average Sierra Leonean makes about $50 US per month, right? So if you do that times 12, that's $600 a year, okay? So that's a long cry from $45,000 a year that you might be required to have as annual household income to be able to purchase a house. So most people purchasing houses and building are people who have you know, our elite society in Sierra Leone, or who have come up the socioeconomic ladder. Many of those who have gone away to school, have worked elsewhere and have come back and built, or other people who have gone and come back, or who have gone, who are building and are renting, but still live elsewhere. By the way, it's new people joining on Instagram Live. If you want to see what I'm presenting on screen, click on the pinned comment to watch the live, or just go to Authentic African on YouTube. You'll be able to see the live video there. All right, cool. So, so those are the numbers there. Really quickly, here's some of the cost on land per square meter. So beachfront or prime land is $35 per square meter. That's about $12,400 per town lot. We've already established that a town lot is 452 square meters, right? Is that what I said? I think that's what I said. Western urban areas, it's $21 per square foot, $7,000 per town lot. Western rural areas, it's $11,000 per square meter. I think I said square foot, sorry, per square meter. $11 per square meter, and then $3,000 per town lot. And then outside the Western areas, $6 per square meter, or $2,200 per town lot. I now, in my family, in my my portfolio of town lots that we own, we've now accumulated 6 properties within my family, most of which have not had any building on. Nothing's done to it. We just own the town lots, but we're building on 2. And just so you guys are clear, I spent about $12,000 to purchase the almost 2 town lots that I purchased, but I bought it from family, so it was at a discount. So it was not really much of a discount, but it was a bit of a discount. It should have been more like $15,000. I got it for $12,000, so I got like a little bit of a discount on that. I guess like 10% off. Okay, cool. So let's get into some of the other details. It's hard to read that. Sorry. So we're not going to go through that. So there is some stuff from access to finance. So there are a lot of challenges with finance here, but let's go through some of the numbers just so you guys know what is available in terms of financing according to the Housing Finance Africa. I will tell you right now, I was at a bank, EcoBank. Was it EcoBank? Yeah, it was EcoBank. And I was dealing with, dealing with my business account. And there was a guy in there from Spain. And he was talking about getting a loan to build a house. And what they told him was that they can offer him a loan and it would be a 1-year loan, right? And the guy was like, I can't pay a loan back in a year. You know, don't you guys have like 15-year loans or 20-year loans? And they laughed at him. Like, a 20-year loan, are you crazy? Because it's a lot harder to trust that people will pay these loans back, right? If you want to make your money back on loans, it's tougher to do that. And it's tougher to have collateral, right, to put up on a home, because we've just talked about how difficult it is for people to generate an income here. So many people don't have access to financing. And so most of what we do here on the continent is cash, all cash. So for context, I'm spending about, our family, I should say, is spending a little over $2,000 a month to build our house. And that is what we're going to be paying until the house is built, right? So I have dramatically reduced my cost of living in order to be able to spend $2,000 a month to move. And you have to do that, because if you don't, the rate of inflation will hit you like crazy. Okay, so now that I've talked about those numbers, let's go back to the access to finance. So there are 14 commercial banks, 56 foreign exchange bureaus, 17 community banks, 15 credit-only microfinance institutions, 3 deposit-taking microfinance institutions, 2 discount houses, a mortgage finance company, a leasing company, 59 financial service associations, an Apex Bank, and 3 mobile financial services providers in Sierra Leone. The value of residential mortgages outstanding is 10.2 million. The number of residential mortgages outstanding is 292. There are 2 residential mortgage providers. The ratio of mortgages to GDP is 0.26%, because nobody has mortgages. Commerce and Mortgage Bank Sierra Leone Limited offers a home purchase mortgage with a minimum deposit of 20% of the amount and a maximum loan of $120,000, meaning you have to put down $40,000 to get a $120,000 loan. 20% of the deposit to get that loan has to be, or 20% of the loan has to be put down as a deposit. For context, right? In the United States, most of the time you put down between 3 and 10%, depending on what kind of deal you have and what kind of loan you're getting, right? FHA loan, they say you can put down 3%. It's a government loan. Most of the time you put down 10%. If you're working with a hard money lender, which I've done in the US, sometimes you have to put like 10 to 15% down, 20% down to get a loan here. The prevailing residential mortgage rate is 18% to 23%. And they do actually offer loans for 15 to 20 years, but it's hard to get, and it depends on what bank you're trying to go to. So I hope this answers a lot of questions around financing. That's what it is. All right. In terms of affordability, 46% of the population in Sierra Leone is below the poverty line. The proportion of adult population who's borrowed formally is 4.3%. Construction per square meter is costing about $485 to $877 per square meter. Construction labor cost is about $97 to $390 per square meter in terms of labor costs. Typical monthly rent for the cheapest newly built house is $131 to $1,500 per month you can charge for rent. The prevailing residential mortgage rate is 18%. So Good Fula was asking, what's the mortgage rate? 18% to 23% mortgage rate. Current inflation rate is 13.45%. Inflation is crazy right now in Sierra Leone, crazy. 13.45%, which is why you need to buy your materials ASAP and store it in a cool, dry place, like cement, for instance, so that it doesn't harden. Because if it gets wet, it starts to harden like cement does. And so you're going to have to try to keep your cement in a cool, dry place. Typical land costs we've already talked about. Okay, so that's the affordability of housing. Housing supply, there's overdependent on imported building materials. There's a lot here. I'm not going to go through more of this. I feel like eyes are glazing over and people are over going through the details of this specific deck. So I'm going to go through this with the owner of TP Estate at another time, and he and I will talk through the details of this. But I think for now, we'll leave it at that, and we'll just go over to their site. I think, what is it? TP Estates, Sierra Leone. Let's go to the website so you can see some of what the housing looks like. Sorry, guys, for the numbers. Hopefully that was helpful. I saw I was losing some people as I was going through it. So I think I'm just going to jump right into what the housing community looks like. So this is TP Estates. This is literally what the house that I just went to look at looks like. Now, it's not done yet. They in the next week, 2 weeks or so, they plan to have this completed. But what you see in the back here is going to be a separate laundry room, a separate area for your the house workers, the laundry room, and a separate outdoor restroom, so that if you're entertaining people and this is where your water tanks are going to be. They have, obviously AC, and but it's completely solar. And they also have generators as well. They have wells on the property. Here's what the inside of the property looks like. It actually does look like this. I just went there on Saturday or Sunday morning. So you have these are 2 bedrooms, two bathrooms, or is it 3 bedrooms? Yes, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms in these houses. And it's a living room. You have a dining room area, and you have an outdoor space, and then you have the couple of bedrooms, and then you have outside space, a veranda, if you will, above the garage to entertain folks. So what they're doing above the garage is the same thing I'm doing above my caretaker's quarters, or above what I'm calling the guest house. So they're doing something similar with their eco-friendly places. So just so you know where their communities are, they have a number of different communities here in Sierra Leone. So one is in Kent, one is in Lunge, where the airport is. Another one is at 37 or 34. I can't remember what the number is, but when this comes up, I'll be able to tell you. So they have Kent, like I said, they have Banana Island, they have Mile 36, and then they'll also have Lunge. as well. So those were all the locations where these are. The model house is in Kent, which is like I said, about an hour and 10 minutes or so outside of the capital city in Sierra Leone, outside of Freetown. And so the cost for the houses, I had the costing up somewhere. Where is the cost? I think it might be under about. Hopefully it's there. The houses were in the $200,000 range. I'll say that because I can't seem to find it here. But it's in the $200,000 range. So if you're wondering how much it might cost for these TP estates, so two bedrooms, two bath, it is about 200,000, 230, 240,000. They can do fully furnished. They could do unfurnished, and the driveway can fit 2 cars, and then inside the garage can fit 1 car. So you can technically park 3 cars if you wanted to in these estates. All right, so before I get into the migrating culture crossing estates in Ghana, are there any questions from anybody as it pertains to the eco-friendly TP estates in Sierra Leone before I move on? I want to make sure I answer any questions that are there. PH Dami is saying, wow, I guess that must have to do with what I was saying. I'm spending $2,000 a month on the house. Yes, I am. And I just got another $1,000 bill for the veranda that I didn't take into account. So it's going to cost me. It's going to cost me. But I will say this, though. Once it's done, I'm going to be able to rent it, and I'll be able to make my money back within about 2 years or so on the house. And then from there, it's just all profit from there. So, look, I'm building for the future, not just for myself, for future generations. So it's worth it to spend that kind of money now, so that, by the time I'm 50, 38 now, in the next 12 years, I will have made a pretty significant amount of income, passive income on this house, right? And so that's my goal, is by my 50s to have multiple streams of income from the work that I'm doing now. And so for those of you who are younger than me, who have the opportunity to start thinking about building and investing, this is something that I would definitely recommend you do. Now, for me, I am Sierra Leonean, and I bought land from my family. So I was able to have a smooth transition, and I'm able to build an income property on this property, right? It's going to be 3 floors. My mom's living on the first floor. I'm renting the other 2 floors, right? And then I'm also going to have a guest house, which I may also rent out from time to time as well. And so I will have plenty of ways to generate income from that property. Even I will be staying in the property too when I come there, right? So so I want to just make sure that if you guys are thinking about real estate, think about it in that way, right? How do you buy and make sure that you get something that's eco-friendly? I'm hearing that the video from the estate's not coming through clear. Sorry, guys. Let me know if it's coming clear for any of you guys. But yeah, so Manelik says, definitely want to be like you when I grow up and have a house built in the motherland. Yes, we will have to get more people doing that for sure. Building houses in the motherland. Look, guys, whether you're buying and building real estate, and I don't want to turn this into Earn Your Leisure, but I'm a big fan of Earn Your Leisure, and I'm really big into financial wellness and financial health. I read Rich Dad Poor Dad when I was 19, and one of the things I learned about was assets and liabilities, and a house can be an asset, but it can also be a liability. It's a liability if you live in it and you don't make money off of it. Now, you might be able to make money off of it later, but it's better to have a house, multifamily houses, to rent different elements of it, and you live in one, so that you can make your mortgage 0 and you actually make extra money, which is what I'm doing with one of my properties now. We're putting money right back into the house, so we own the house a lot sooner. On a 20-year mortgage or on a 15-year mortgage, we'll own the house in less than 10 years. And with that, we'll be able to do whatever we want with it, because now the house is owned outright. And now we can just do whatever we want with it. So I'm going to do the same thing with the properties that I have in Sierra Leone. I'm thinking about buying in Ghana as well. And so on that note, to speak about things like this, you can buy one of these properties and live in them if you want, or you can buy and rent it out, right? So, so when we're talking about TP Estate, you know, they have fully furnished, as I mentioned, so you could potentially, you know, buy it and rent it out to other people. Just know that in this situation, you're dealing with people have to come like an hour outside the capital city to live there, right? So these are going to be more like vacation communities, at least at Kent. But you have other communities, right? So at 37, that's pretty far. But Lunge could be an interesting place. Imagine Airbnb being a place next to the airport. So if somebody has to catch a flight really early in the morning and they don't want to have to cross over the night before and basically sleep at the airport, maybe they could stay at your place in Lunge if you have a house in Lunge and you want to rent it out. So I'm thinking about potentially doing something in Lunge myself. So this is the kind of thing that you can think about, right? So, all right. So let me answer some of these questions and some comments that are coming up while before I get into the next one. And so, by the way, if you're joining on Instagram Live, it looks like a few people have been joining a few times. Go over to the link that's pinned in the description here, or the pinned link, and go to watch it on YouTube. All right, cool. Okay, so what's driving inflation? Inflation is being driven by all the market conditions in the world, namely, to be honest, all the money that was given during COVID, right? Most of the inflation around the world, and it was necessary, right? You had to do it, but what should have happened is the government should have planned for that inflation, and they didn't, because they never do. They don't think ahead. They only think about right now. So you had to give money to everyone around the world, right? You had to. So in Europe, they gave more than in other places. In the US, they gave some money out. What that meant is that there were more money in more hands of people who don't normally circulate money in the economy. So what that means is that people are willing to spend more on things, and people are outbidding each other on different things, right? And when you have the ability for people to pay more, you create markets where people charge more, right? And so that just creates inflation. I am not an economist, and by the way, I got D's in economics in college and in finance, but I've learned a little bit more about finance since college, and I do know that is why you have inflation, right? When you have more money circulating in an economy, that is why you have inflation, which is why when people always ask, why don't we just print more money and give more money to the poor in the United States? That is why they don't do it, right? It causes inflation, and it just means that it basically what it does is it just makes everything go up in prices. Now, Sierra Leone is victim of that, but also it's exponentially worse in Sierra Leone because most of what Sierra Leoneans buy and use are imported from outside of the country. And so you're already paying, it's already inflated elsewhere. Then you're also paying for like import taxes and whatnot, and whatever it costs the person who is purchasing it there and trying to sell it here, their own cost. And we don't have necessary mechanisms in place here to try to quell the inflation. And then on top of that, the Sierra Leone is dropping in value as compared to the US dollar. Same issues happening in Nigeria and the Naira. The same thing is happening with the Ghana CD as well. We don't have methods for stabilizing our currencies as well in West Africa as some of the people in the West and in Europe do. So I hope that answers your question about what's driving inflation. I know it's a little long-winded answer, but I hope that helps you understand it. All right, cool. Quaidwell says, I might have missed something, but are they calling them eco-friendly as economically friendly or as not harmful to the environment and the materials are alternative? So it's a good question. So it's not economically friendly at all. No, it is eco-friendly, like echo to the earth. So like sustainable housing. Yeah, so it's definitely based on that. Oh, so I already looked at that. So Wina says, it looks good, but TP estate prices are high considering they are using earth-friendly materials. Yeah, so here's the issue, right? So because everybody's paying this in cash they are, and I don't know how much financing they've gotten outside. I think a lot of that a lot of those costs are being passed on to the individuals. So it is a little bit more expensive, I would say. Sierra Leone in general is more expensive than it should be. And by the way, somebody said something earlier. iTuber mentioned about Accra, and I wanted to mention this because this is before the live started, but he mentioned this. He said, I just learned that Accra was ranked the second most expensive city in the world to live in. That's crazy. Freetown proper is expensive to buy a home. Western province outside of Freetown is better. Yes. So just on that note, just thought I remembered that from earlier. So I thought I'd share that. So yeah, I don't know where it was ranked. And I know iTuber does his research, but iTuber, if you can, just tell us where you got that information from. I always like to cite sources anytime I start giving numbers. Very big on citing sources. It's just important that we all do that when we start passing around articles or we start telling people certain numbers and things that we know about something. Cite sources. So I just always like to make sure we do that. All right, cool. Tahira says, I hope it's Tahira. I was seriously considering until I saw how prevalent female genital mutilation is. The government in Sierra Leone does not oppose it. Ooh. So you are getting into the controversial topics here. All right, so this is definitely something that I am going to talk about in Sierra Leone, in Ghana, in Nigeria, in Africa in general. Many tribal traditions continue to do female genital mutilation or circumcision. I will say that it's considered in some places a rite of passage. Some women actually do it voluntarily, but that's because they think they have to do it as part of the rite of passage. I think if most people given the choice with more information would not do it. I know someone personally who was, I don't want to get off on topic. This is a conversation for another time. We definitely need to talk about this. I'm going to have a whole series about women in Africa and treatment of women in certain tribes and how some of that is changing and how we need more people to speak up and speak out. This is not the live for that, but I have a lot of information and I feel very passionately and strongly about this. I'm choosing my words carefully because just because I have to, but there's a lot we need to talk about here because it's crazy. It should not happen. But it's a whole thing and it's hard. It's hard to speak about it in such in a situation like this because it needs a lot of context. It needs experts, and I need another voice, like a female voice, for instance, here to speak on it. I have a friend who's a sexologist. If you've seen that the interview I've done with her, Leanne, her and I were actually having this conversation this last weekend, and we're gonna do a piece of content together where we talk about this. But we definitely need to talk about that. Okay. Back to the topic at hand. Sorry, guys. A little bit of a tangent there, but it's an important topic, and so that's why I had to speak to it. Okay, so this is what's going on with TP Estates. It looks like all the questions have been answered so far. So we're going to move on to some other questions. Callie Calv just joined the live. Shout out to you. What's up, Callie Calv? Thanks for joining. If you want to see what I'm presenting, go over to the link in YouTube and watch the live on YouTube because I'm presenting on the screen so people can see. All right, so I have to be honest with you guys. So we're going to shift over to sustainable living in Ghana, and the company is called Migrating Culture Crossing. I'm going to reach out to Eric. I think his name is Eric. I don't want to mess his name up. He calls himself Eric McNeil. McNeil. I would love to interview him and talk to him about what he's doing. A couple people, I know Anita has been asking about, oh no, sorry, not Anita. Anita hasn't been asking about this. Who was asking about this? Lady Keene was asking about this. So I do want to just kind of speak to this a little bit from the research that I've done. And it's been tough to do this research. Tiffany Taxi Lady says, great live. Thank you. I'm glad you like it. It's been tough to do this research because I've been really, really busy, but I spent like an hour or so today kind of looking into what Eric McNeil is doing, and it all seems legit. So basically what he's doing is building a sustainable community an hour and a half or so north of Accra in Ghana. And so what he's doing, and so you can see it here, So Accra is down here, all the way down here. So you'd be driving all the way north. I'm trying to see if I can see a Bree. So Adenta, a Bree or a Buri. A Bree is like, I think, it's here. And that's pretty far. Like if you're going to a Bree, like I have a friend who has a house in a Bree, it takes like 45 minutes to an hour or so to get to him. And it's off this way. So if you want to go to where this is going to be located, it is pretty far north. But one of the things that I saw Eric talk about in his video was exactly what I mentioned earlier, where it's like, if you want to invest in property, you can invest and rent, right? And they basically do the management of the rentals for you on your behalf while you're away, with a percentage of the cost of rentals and all of that. They'll handle that for you, so you don't have to do it. But basically the idea of this came from some of what he saw with some other folks doing sustainable housing elsewhere, and using sustainable materials. By the way, let me get back to the TP estate. I forgot to mention, the materials used for the house is either locally sourced or all sustainable materials. Nothing is imported, or very small amounts of things are imported. Like for instance, like the oven or the stove or the microwave or whatever, that has to come from elsewhere. But other than that, almost everything else is directly locally sourced. They have water on site. They're doing solar on site, and they're also going to have a garden. They're going to have a pool, which I don't know if that's eco-friendly, having a pool, but that's what they're planning to have on site. So anyway, that is the TP Estates. All right, cool. So now let's like go over to migrating culture crossings back into Ghana. So I wanted to give you that information there. So one of the things that Eric mentioned on one of his videos was exactly that. He also calls his property a car-free zone, which is interesting, right? I think the idea is to not have vehicles there, but because it's so far away from the capital city, I don't know how they plan to move people around. I haven't been able to see that. So like if you want to get to the capital city, and if this is a car-free zone, I don't know where you would park your car. So this is a conversation I would want to have with Eric. Maybe he mentions it in one of his videos. I haven't gotten a chance to see that as of yet. But it's definitely something I do want to look into. But what I found interesting though was the fact that they're going to have a garden on site. They're using natural pesticides, so they're not actually using pesticides to kill the bugs that are going to be on the plants. It's also considered like a resort, so you can make it like a vacation home for yourself, right? So you can come off for the time. There's like a food forest, of course. You can come relax and learn. But then you can offer it you can buy it as a vacation home. So whenever you come and you stay, you can stay as a vacation home, or it can be an investment property, as I mentioned before, right? So you can purchase that as an investment property, and they will rent it for you. You put $500 down. I wanted to see what the financing options are. I did look somewhere to see financing options. I can't find a finance option, but anyway, this is the site. It's migratingculturecrossings.com. And you guys can check it out to see what the financing options are. Because I actually can't seem to find them. But okay, are there any questions? Okay, Serafina has something specific. Okay, so let me get to Tahira first. So let me talk to Tahira first. Okay, so Tahira says, I was seriously, okay, yeah. Thank you for replying, brother. I really want to move there. God bless. Yeah, definitely. I recommend moving for sure. Listen, there are some challenges here for sure. Don't get me wrong. And there's some things that we need to fix, but I think you would really find it life-changing if you decided to make the move. Watch some of my other content about what you should do before you move and all of that, but yeah, I definitely recommend it. Okay, and you just subscribed. Thank you for subscribing. Great work. Thank you. I appreciate it. We love new subscribers to the channel, so we appreciate people joining. Okay, Serafina says, TD estate homes are extremely expensive considering the poor earnings across the country. How many middle-class families can really afford to purchase a home at that cost? Is mind-boggling, Joe. Yeah, so this technically is not for the locals, right? Because you can't really build a house that a local can pay for. You can't, because it's going to cost you too much in terms of the cost of materials and the labor to be able to ever rent it at a price that you'll ever get your money back. Right. So unfortunately, most of these things that are being built for diasporans and for expats. Even my property, I'm not going to be able to rent it likely to locals. Maybe I'm planning to rent it to people who work for NGOs and their companies pay for it. I prefer to have an organization pay on behalf of the resident that's staying there. Just like in the US, some people do, they buy a house and they do stuff with like the military and do military housing, or former vets, or they do stuff like Section 8, stuff like that. So you can guarantee people are being paid every month. I would likely do that for my own property. But yeah, no matter what you build, how you build, sustainable or not, and as cheap as you try to go, you will never get your money back if you have to try to build and rent to the locals, because most locals don't make enough, right? So it's just going to be the top less than 1% of the people who are living in Sierra Leone that are actually going to be able to afford a house, unfortunately. That is not like a shanty house, as I mentioned, or what we call a pambodi. That is just really what it is, to be able to buy. Some people can rent, and you can rent in town. There's definitely many places to rent. But if you want to buy a house, you want to buy land, it's very, very tough. And even in Ghana, it's very difficult to buy a house and buy land in Accra. I knew a guy who saved up, bought land 15 years ago, and he's been saving up slowly but surely since then to be building on his house. So Sawana's asking, is rent to own a thing in Sierra Leone? No, it's not really. Unless the owner is willing to sell their house and they rent it to someone who wants to buy it from them eventually, but it's not something that most people do. So it's not really a thing. No, rent to own is not really a thing. Okay, cool. So migrating culture crossing. Let's see if there's anything in particular on our company page that we can talk about. Because I thought it was interesting. People were asking a lot of questions about this. Can I put other names on the business? There's a yes on the house. Can you get it 50% off? They say yes, but you have to have 100% of the upfront payment. It's a 3-year wait. If you want 25% off the house, 100% upfront payment, a 2-year wait. If you want 12.5% off the house, it's 60% upfront, 20% of the initial level, or the lintel level, 20% off roof completion, and 2-year wait. Regular price, it takes 2 years to build. So for these houses, it does take 2 years to build. The eco-friendly houses in TP Estates, much smaller. Those houses can be built in as little as 6 months, which is very fast. But that's what I was told. Where do you send your payments? You have to do it through Echo Bank. Here for what is this? For migrating culture crossings. Let's see. Will the homes come with appliances? The answer there is yes. Do they come with warranties? There's a yes. So there's a lot of stuff here on the frequently asked page. I would say, look, from what I've seen so far and from the videos that I've seen, I don't see a problem with buying from either one of these. From the small research that I've done, I would say do your own research. I am not making any recommendations because I don't want to be held responsible if anything happens for anybody who purchased anything. But what I would say is I would strongly consider it. I'm actually even looking into it for my own self. My thing is, like, at this point, I have another property that I'm investing a lot of money in right now. And so, I have other investments happening. And so if I have a large windfall of cash, I may utilize that to buy other property. I'm thinking about that. I have some other investments that I'm waiting on the returns on some of those. And so if I do, I will potentially buy and maybe one of these, especially the potential one at Lunge. in Sierra Leone. In Ghana, I'm not 100% sure I would buy something that far outside of Accra. Although 30 years from now, an hour and a half outside of Accra will probably be, won't seem that far, because Greater Accra area will probably be so big that it won't be that far outside. But I tend to want to get something closer to mainland, or to a capital city, just because it's going to get you more returns when people are renting from you. Okay. So Anita Howard saying, sorry I stepped away. I'm not sure if you answered this question, but there's some financing options to purchase property or land. So in Sierra Leone, there technically is financing options, but most people pay cash. Ghana, it's the same thing. But there are loans and housing loans that you can get. I did go through it on the Sierra Leone one, just going through the presentation deck that TP Estate sent me. I'm trying to see if I can find the financing options for the Migrate Culture Crossing. I haven't been able to find any details on that. And this is another thing, by the way, I think is important when you're building a website, is these are the kinds of things that people want to know. So I'll make that recommendation if and when I speak to Eric. I'd love to talk to him, though. I think what he's doing is really interesting. But yeah, I think there's some things here that might be needed to help answer some questions. So honestly, I don't know if he's offering financing. Just speaking to what you got to put down and how long it takes to build. So we're talking 2 years plus for your house to be built at a minimum at the Migrate Culture Crossings. But these are bigger homes. They have studios, they have 1 bedrooms, as a duplex. They have a house that's a 1 bedroom. They have a house that's a 2 bedroom. They have a house that's 3 bedrooms. Right. So, you know what, let me actually show you guys some of the floor plans. So the housing actually looks very similar to the one that you saw at TP Estates, but I'm going to show you guys what it looks like at Migrating Culture Crossing. So this is what the house is going to look like. The final house is going to look like. So it's a pretty big house. This is a 3-bedroom, right? So quite large. They have like an office area. So this is what the overhead might look like, right? So you have your entrance. So you have like a seated area, kind of a living room. You have your dining room and your kitchen, right? Then you walk into the hallway. You have your 3 bedrooms. Two of the bedrooms. One of the bedrooms has an ensuite, and then there's a shared bathroom for the other 2 bedrooms. Looks like they have a closet and some other like storage space for like the 3rd bedroom, or what they're using as an office here. So this is what that looks like for a 3-bedroom. If you guys want to see a 2-bedroom, we can look at that really quickly too. Just to see what the overhead looks like of a 2-bedroom. There we go. So this is what a 2-bedroom looks like. So again, there's no ensuite here. It's a shared bathroom for each bedroom, and so it's a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom living space. It's only 819 square feet. So that's what the 2-bedroom looks like. And then just really quickly, let's see if we have the 1-bedroom house. Okay, here's a 1-bedroom. So you have your living area, and then you have your 1-bedroom here. The cost of the 3-bedroom. So Dauda Conte is asking the cost. I don't know the cost. I was trying to find the prices online, and I can't seem to find the prices. Let me see if it was mentioned to me by someone else, because I was reached out to talk about this in particular. Let's see. Let me see if I have some pricing here. I don't have any pricing anywhere, so I'll have to look into this. I wasn't able to get it. I was trying to look to see if I could find pricing. I couldn't find it. So sorry about that, guys. But once I get that information, I'll share it with you guys later. I don't have much information on the pricing here. The total cost after completion. So I don't know, to be honest. I don't know. So Dauda, just so you know, I'm talking about this migrating culture crossing sustainable community in Ghana. So that's why I don't know the cost there. If you're asking about like in Sierra Leone, we've gone through some of those numbers earlier in the live, so you could definitely check that. And I can tell you, I'm doing a 3-bedroom, 3.5 bath, 3-story, and 3-bedroom, 3.5 bath on each story, and it's going to cost me about 30,000+ per story per floor. That's in Sierra Leone, what I'm spending money on. So just so you guys know, it's gonna be about $30,000 per floor for what I'm building, but it's probably gonna go up. It's probably gonna be $30,000 next year. It's probably gonna be $35,000 the following year for the next floor, and probably $40,000 for that next floor the following year, right? Because the inflation is just going up and it does not stabilize and come back down, unfortunately. All right, cool. Oh, the pricing is under the floor plan, you said. Is it? Are you sure? So Lady Keen is saying the price is under the floor plan. Where do you see it? I'm looking under the floor plan. I don't see the pricing, but maybe I'm missing something. So Lady Keen, can you tell me where I can find that pricing? Okay, but she did mention this though. So you either pay in full or put 30% down and make payments per each phase. So you can make payments per each phase, so that, you know, as they go along. You said top. So Dauda is asking, where's the location? This is 1.5 hours north of Accra for oh, okay, here we go. I can't believe I missed this. So it's 1.5 hours north of Accra. So here's a 1-bedroom. It's 80,900. There you go. For a 1-bedroom at the migrating culture crossings. So let's go through the pricing again, since I don't know how I missed that. So I told you guys I was a remedial reading, right? So 8th grade. So, or in 8th grade. So, okay, so $152,000 for the 3-bedroom. You see, these are cheaper than in Sierra Leone. Look at that. 3-bedroom house is $152,900. It's not bad at all. In Sierra Leone, those are 200,000+, the ones that I was talking about earlier. Just to answer your question, Dauda, it's 290 or so thousand on average for those 2 bedrooms. 200,000+, 250, 290, 108,000 for the 2-bedroom, single floor. The 1-bedroom is 89,000, I think we are, or 80,000 for a single floor. And then for the duplex, I think that was the one that was 89,000, right? Oh, 53,000 for the duplex 1-bedroom. Okay. Oh, I see what they mean by duplex. I see. It's connected to another house next door. That's why it's 53,000. So your 1-bedroom's on this side, you share a wall with another property. That's what they're calling a duplex. I'm used to a duplex being 2 floors. But okay, so you're paying 53,000. So instead of having a standalone house, which is 80,000 for a 1-bedroom, and then the prices subsequently go up for 2 and 3 bedrooms. I stopped sharing my screen, didn't I? Sorry. Okay. So this is 53,000 for the 1-bedroom duplex. And then the studio duplex is 41,000. So if you have a studio that's part of a connected duplex where you share like an overall plot, that's what it looks like. So that's the pricing here. So the pricing is actually not so bad. It's not so bad at the migrating culture crossings in Ghana, but in Sierra Leone, it's much more expensive, much more expensive. And that's just how it is in Sierra Leone, unfortunately. It's way more expensive than the GDP and what people normally can pay. So Lady King did just mention, had a deal 50% off if you paid in full. So if you, yeah, that's right. So they do have a couple of deals. If you pay in full, you can get 50% off. So if you got $41,000 to pay, you get the whole house in full. And again, they'll rent it out for you, but it does take 2 years to build if you do pay it in full. And the studio is only 310 square feet, so it's a mighty small studio. But it could be interesting. It could be your way into real estate in Ghana. It is an hour and a half north of Accra. The road on the way is a really rough road, lots of potholes and dangerous to drive at night. So that's the one thing that I would caution you on. But other than that, I mean, look, it's really cool what they're doing. And I would strongly consider it myself, to be honest with you. If I had the cash, unfortunately, like I mentioned, I'm spending myself a little over what's going to be close to about $20,000 this year on my own housing project already. And so I'd have to have an additional 50 plus K or 80K to be able to throw down, or at least 30% of that to get started. So we'll see how things play out the rest of this year in terms of my finances, and maybe I'll potentially do something like that. And so Dauda is asking about the location of the house in Sierra Leone, the eco-friendly housing in Sierra Leone. So they have 4 locations, as I mentioned before: Kent, Dublin, Mile 36, and Lunge. And it's $296,000 or $200,000+, not in Leone currency. If that's in Leone currency, I think, if I'm not mistaken, that's like 2 billion leones or something like that. Leones it's so much harder to translate into dollars, but yeah. And it can take up to 3 years to build if you do the 30% down. If you do the 100% upfront, it's 2 years. But if you do it in like the 30% or something like that, it's 3 years. It also comes completely furnished at those prices. I'm concerned about traveling to have access to amenities. I mean, that's the issue, right? Like, if you want to go out, you want to see like the town, traveling an hour and a half to get to Accra is not going to be a thing. So you're probably going to have to try to find things to do in that local community. There's likely going to have to be other things around. I mean, luckily you'll have sustainable food and a garden, but I mean, yeah, I mean, to be honest, you know, that's the challenge with it being so far away from the capital city of Accra, is that it's going to be an hour and a half to get to mainland. I mean, at Abri, for instance, where my friend has a house, there's a bunch of other stuff down in the Abri area, right? Like, when you're in that area, there are like little restaurants and little bars and stuff like that there. But if you're somebody who likes to do like the nightlife scene, you like to go out to restaurants and things like that, you're going to have to travel an hour and a half down to the main city, to the capital city, to do that. And that might be challenging. And that's without traffic, right? It's an hour and a half without traffic. If you get caught in traffic leaving or on your way in, that's a whole nother thing, right? And Accra traffic can be at a standstill sometimes. So that is the main challenge with this. But I think that's probably why the pricing is so reasonable, I think, considering how much things can cost in these parts of the world. So Abri is about 45 minutes north of Accra. So it's like kind of almost halfway between where this is, Migrating Culture Crossing, and Accra. So just to go back to the map, to show you, wait, where is this? Okay, here we go, for the location. So this map here, it's really hard to see. Let me see if I can make it bigger. Oh. Okay, change the view. All right. So Accra is all the way down here. Abri is here, which is 45 minutes north of Accra. And then this housing, Migrating Culture Crossing, is all the way up here. So when you take, what's it called, Dodowa, this road, this is one of those wild roads. I mean, speed limits are a recommendation, not a requirement. And people fly on these roads because they don't want to be wasting an hour and a half on the road. They want to move. So there's a lot of potholes. The driving can be dangerous on this. So especially at night, especially when it's in the non-well lit areas. So I do just caution you guys, if you decide you want to buy here, you just have to know that, you know, coming in out of Accra is probably not something you're going to be able to do very often, right? Just to be very clear on that, right? It is quite the distance from Accra. This map isn't really doing it any justice, but I guess you can kind of tell. If you know that Abri is about 45 minutes away and the roads can get really bad going up to Abri, just imagine you're going all the way up here. So yeah, it says about an hour and a half, maybe a little bit longer, depending on the traffic. So this is migrating cultural crossing and my initial thoughts so far. I would love if they had it in Abri, much closer. I actually have a friend who owns a bunch of land here, some number of acres, I can't remember how many acres, tens of acres. So I'm more likely to potentially buy from him and his land because I know all the people who are living there and where it is and all of that, than maybe all the way up here because it's just so far away. I actually have a friend who lives not too far from here, and you know, it is a pain for her to drive into Accra for work. But I know from what I understand, it's not that far. It's doable to go in and out of Accra. So that would be, you know, Abri is a little bit easier. So if you're looking at land in Abri, it is a little easier to go from Abri to Accra, etc. Or and vice versa. All right, cool. Let me. So while you have to backtrack to get to Abri, that is not a direct road straight to Accra, then back up north to Abri. I guess I'm buying in South Africa. There may be other roads, maybe just not main roads. I'm not sure if you wanted to go to Abri from where this is, that you had to come all the way down here to the Adenta municipality and come up to Abri, but maybe you do. I don't know, because I don't know anything about the roads once it gets up there. I've only been to Abri. I haven't gone to any of these I haven't branched out to any of these other places. I have gone to Tema. Tema is another long road. That's like 45 minutes east. I've gone to Pram Pram too. It's far. And there is one way in and out of Tema, that's for sure. So there may be one way in and out of Abri. Well, you can go this way and drive over to Abri, but in terms of like getting there from up here, you may actually, what looks like there is a road here that crosses over that you might be able to drive down and then come to Abri, but you still have to come down this far to get up to Abri. There's no direct road from here to here, right? For instance, as far as I understand, but maybe there is, it's just maybe not on the map. But yeah, I mean, South Africa too, you know, but West Africa needs you. South Africa doesn't, you know what I'm saying? But I also understand look, I get it. Cool. All right. So that, guys, is the sustainable housing complexes in both areas. Any other questions, comments, thoughts that you guys want to share with me in the waning minutes of this live? We're now an hour and 29 minutes into the live. The time went by fast. Didn't even realize it. And look at that. This is the first live in months that we've done that I haven't lost power for an extended period of time. Watch me lose power. Or like I haven't lost internet connection. Since being in Nigeria and my first week here, man, it was a challenge to say the least. All right, cool. Any other questions, comments, concerns, thoughts before we move on? Shout out to Amira for joining. We met in Sierra Leone. She recognized me from an interview. that I did with Vanessa Camby, which, by the way, I'm working to do a follow-up to that interview, guys. So much has changed in the year since I've done that interview, a little over a year. So when I go back to Ghana, I'm going to try to get back in contact with her and see if we could do a part 2. And then I'd love to see if I can get Vanessa Camby, interview her about her life. You know, she moved to Ghana a little bit before I did. You know, she's obviously been on YouTube for a few years, I think 5 years now. She has quite the following, over 100,000 subscribers, and she's Ghanaian and Scottish. And so her being interracial, what has that meant for her? She's also married to a white man. And so that might be interesting. So I'm definitely trying to see if I can get an interview with her, and if she can interview me again to follow up. All right, Lady Keen says, thanks for doing this. I missed most. My mother just came to visit and I have to feed her. I get it. I'll rewatch everything later. Again, thanks so much. You're welcome. Yes, definitely rewatch the live. And if there are any questions that I haven't answered, definitely just put them in the comments and I'll do my best to answer them. I do everything I can to answer and respond to every comment on YouTube. I can't do that on Instagram because there's just far too many comments and far too many posts on Instagram, but I try to do it on YouTube as much as I can, and I've pretty much gotten to all of them. Manelik says it's very informative. Thanks for sharing. You're welcome. I'm glad you found it informative. And thanks for watching, guys. And Lady King says, okay, I hear you. West Africa needs me. I need her as well. I just have to come there and let the spirit guide me to where to live and plant my feet. Yes, do that. For sure, do that. Also, by the way, if you want to support the channel, I just found out that you can do you can support videos financially if you have the means by certain kinds of likes on videos. I don't know what this is. I haven't seen it yet. People are talking about it, but now you can do it. You can support the channel by doing that. You can also support by when we're on the live doing a super chat. You can also do that too. So just want to let everybody know that there's one way to support the channel if you so feel like you want to. It's not a requirement. But when anybody who supports the channel, I'm working on doing some special things for you guys. We'll announce those things very soon, but we'll be doing something good for those who have supported. Sensory Flight already been following, says I've already been following. Thank you for following. Okay, cool. And any other questions and comments before we go? We're gonna end this at 1 hour and 35 minutes today. I was gonna go over some things that are happening in the news, but you guys had a lot of questions, and it was good to go through a lot of this. But I have some thoughts on things going on in the news, but I guess we'll have to save that for the diaspora discussions. Social media influencer Kevin Samuels passed away. A lot of things have happened this last week. YOA says, yo, what's up, YOA? Thanks for joining. You are joining right at the end of the live, though. We're about to end the live. Unless you have any questions. Are there any more questions from anyone? I want to give you guys a chance to ask any more questions if you have any. Fits with Nick joined. What's up? Bunch of people that I know are joining. Quaidwell says, thanks for another live. Thank you for joining. Guys, I have been doing live. So excuse me, sorry. I looked at this the other day, and I want to mention this to you guys because I think it's pretty crazy when you think about it. I've gone live now over 50 times. I think the number is, let me get this right. I want to tell you how many times I've gone live, and yeah, let me see. Let me look this up really quickly so you guys can see. Because it's because of you guys, you know, the support that you give, and you know, the attention to detail when I miss things, or you know, your questions, I think have really kept me going, knowing that I'm serving you all and giving you guys good content. All right, so I've now done 51 videos on live. which means that I've gone live 50 weeks in a row. Because I did do one video in March of last year, and then I didn't start going live until May of last year. So next week, Monday, will be the 52nd straight week or a year straight of going live. If you guys can imagine, I've done this for almost a year straight, have not missed one Monday, regardless of the circumstance. Like I mentioned to you guys before, I was in Egypt, which is 2 hours ahead. So I started at 11 p.m., ended at 12 a.m. I was in Nigeria, which is 1 hour ahead. Started at 10 p.m., ended at, almost 12. And of course, I've been doing it here from Sierra Leone and in Ghana, which is on GMT. But yeah, I mean, I'm going to be doing this from the US as well. I'm just trying to think through logistically how I can make it happen. But I'm glad that I've been giving you guys value and that you guys have been joining every week. Some of you guys have been joining every single week from the beginning. A few people miss here and there. I know some people watch but don't always comment. Some of my friends who join, I see you, or I know you are joining because you always mention it to me. But I want to thank you guys all for joining and for supporting. So Anita says, thank you for this information. It definitely gives me a better idea of what I should be looking at when I get there. Good. I'm glad, Anita. I'm glad this has been helpful. YLA, well done. Thank you. Thank you. YLA says, we appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you guys too. All right. It looks like there are no more questions on the content. So guys, if you know anybody thinking about moving to Ghana or Sierra Leone and is planning to buy land at all, then make sure you share this live with them so they have an idea of what it could cost, especially if they're looking at eco-friendly or sustainable housing, or if they're just looking at housing overall in Sierra Leone and want to get an idea about what Sierra Leone looks like in terms of the numbers around the country overall. All right, guys, that is it for today. Thank you all for watching. I really appreciate you all. And with that, guys, I will see you all on the next video.